Hey everybody, I'm George Rawls. It's time for another thing a week. I'm here at Last Chance Archery, and today we're going to go through how to make sure that your shoulders are right for the greatest stability, and I'm going to show a couple of ways that people tend to get things out of joint so that you can make sure that it doesn't happen to you. But first, let me remind you that you can get lessons directly from me at improvemyarchery.com. You can get in-person lessons, you can get remote lessons. If you log on at improvemyarchery.com, you can look at my schedule, pick a time that works for you, and I'll be there waiting on you when it's time for your lesson. Also, you can book me to come to your club or your pro shop, and I'll put on a weekend workshop that is tournament archery top to bottom for 20 of your best customers or closest friends. So contact me about getting a show at your place, and we'll have a great weekend together. So here's what I'm going to go through. In the Big Four, I talked about in step 2, when you draw the bow back, you relax your shoulders, because everybody, when they pick their bow up, they wind up that back shoulder to get ready to draw the bow, and then they pick it up and pull back. Well, once you pull that back, if you don't take time and actually relax your shoulder back into its normal position, you end up breaking your back tension, because the muscles that create the tension and keep it regulated are in the lower mid of your back. So when you raise your shoulder blade up, it extends those muscles and it doesn't allow those to work properly. So you end up leaking pressure all the time, and your bow is dip banging or it's bouncing up and down vertically. Anytime you see vertical movement in the bow, it's usually pressure related. That pressure can be coming from your shoulders, or it can also be coming from mismanaging the extension of your grip. So either one of those can cause a pressure change. So here's how you get this right. First, I'm going to show you with a string, and you can do this without your bow, and watch yourself in the mirror so that you can see what you're doing. I've got this string set so it kind of approximates my draw length, and I'm going to pretend that I've pulled the bow back, and I'm going to pause here, and I'm going to settle my shoulders. Now, the one thing that I want you to notice is that when I settle my shoulders, my elbow and my hand stays in position. So watch this. I'm going to exaggerate it so you can see it. So my elbows don't go up and down like this, right? And a common mistake is people will, when they relax their shoulders, they bring everything down, and then they bring it back up and their shoulders come with it. So that's how people kind of get in trouble, and they say, I'm trying to relax my shoulders, but I just can't seem to get it right. And that's why. So practice in the mirror with a stretchy band or a piece of string, and you can practice settling your shoulders. In today's day and age, we all, are like this. We're like this. Even when you sit down to eat, your shoulders are high. And it's super common, and a lot of people don't notice how much they're holding their shoulders up. So when you're standing in the bathroom, you've gotten out of the shower, you can practice raising your hands without raising your shoulders. So that way you can kind of connect your body to the feel so that you can raise your hands and draw your bow and keep your shoulders in that low and neutral position. But that's advanced. It's totally okay with a compound to pull the bow and then relax your shoulders back into position. If you're shooting a recurve bow, not a good idea to move your shoulders, because you're holding the full weight at full draw. You could make that joint, make those muscles angry by moving while under pressure. But with a compound, we're holding 25 or less pounds, so it's not a big deal to make a little move while you're at full draw. Another common spot that everybody gets in trouble is they draw back, they settle their shoulders, everything is good, and then when they anchor, they pick their elbow up. And you know you're having a problem if somebody takes a picture and the elbow is higher than the arrow, that's what causes your sight pin to fall out of, while you're trying to shoot the bow and the sight pin moves down and it becomes hard for you to raise that up in the middle. It's because that elbow is up there, and when you pull or make pressure on the bow, it basically lifts the back half because your pressure goes up and back instead of just back, right? So that's what it looks like. You'll pull, settle, and then when you anchor, notice this triangle right here, right? I'm going to exaggerate this a little bit by lowering this down a little. Instead of raising your shoulder or your elbow to anchor, right, you'll raise your wrist like this. So you're basically making this triangle a little bit bigger, so that way you can keep your elbow directly behind the arrow, so when you pull on the bow, it doesn't drag the sight out of the middle. So always remember, raise the wrist, and depending on the lengths of your segments, like the distance between here, 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 right, will dictate how much flex there is in your wrist. So you're not going to actually just set that angle and rigidly hold it, but what you'll do is just let it be a loose flowing joint. So ideally, this is the lever, and that's what's creating the, the work. But this is just basically a rope with a hook on it that's holding your release. You can actually kind of turn this muscle off under here, or at least get some relaxation in it once you're at this stage at full draw before you anchor, and that'll make your release work really smooth. But then when you anchor, you're going to bring that straight in, right? I'm going to get the peep right in front of my eyeball, and then I'm going to raise that up. And you notice that my wrist naturally changes angle. So your angle here may be more or less depending on how long your arm segments are. So there's no correct angle, it's just the right angle for you. So just let it be loose and mobile, okay? So I'm going to show you what that looks like with my bow. I have the brand new Hoyt Concept X here. It's making its debut now in the Thing a Week videos. I'm really liking it. I have been a Spiral or SVX fan since day one, and these new cams are a great improvement on that. I just love it. But anyway, here's what it looks like when I pull. I'm going to set my fingers in the release. I'm just going to walk through the whole thing for you just as a review. Set my fingers in the release, check my thumb. Is it in the right position? Yes, it is. Then I'll tip it forward and put my hand in the bow just like I want it. Pick it up, pull it back. I'm going to settle the pin level with the target, put the pin on the bullseye. Then I'm going to move the peep in front of my eyeball and then raise my wrist to anchor, and then thumb on, and then follow through, right? So always remember, pull, settle without any hand or elbow movement vertically, then raise your hand until you get the anchor feel that you're looking for, and that'll make sure that your back tension stays on, and when you pull on the bow, it doesn't drag the bow out of the middle of the target. So that's it for today. I'll see you next week.